first round. Tough times on the Hill with Nate Ament down before the SEC tournament. Next weekend, softball ace Carlin Pickens down right before SEC play starts tonight. And is Kim Caldwell next to go after a first-round SEC tournament exit last night? Folks, it's just another normal weekend in Tennessee athletics, and we're covering it all. This is Torch Sports. Torch Sports is everywhere this week. We're at the Women's SEC Tournament in Greenville, South Carolina. We're at Lindsey Nelson Stadium ahead of a weekend of fall baseball. And we're at Sherry Parker Lee as softball begins SEC play. But before we get back there, we've got back-to-back bad news with the injury bug hitting two of Tennessee's biggest stars in the span of just a week. Our own Summer Romney has the most recent developments on these injuries. Summer, what's the rundown on these two?
Yeah, Alex, let's start with Nate Ament, the star freshman forward for the Tennessee Volunteers basketball team. Over the weekend, Ament suffered a right leg injury during Tennessee's loss to Alabama after his leg bent awkwardly diving for a loose ball. The injury, believed to be a high ankle sprain with some knee irritation, forced him out of that game and ruled him out of Tennessee's matchup at South Carolina. Head coach Rick Barnes has described his progress as encouraging and said Ament looks good in recent team activities. However, there still is no official timetable on his return, as he continues to be evaluated by trainers. Meanwhile, Carlin Pickens, Tennessee's ace pitcher for the Lady Volunteers softball team, exited Tuesday's game against Belmont just after one inning due to discomfort in her throwing shoulder. Medical evaluation revealed an arm strain, and currently the team has listed her as day-to-day. Pickens is a key part of Tennessee's pitching staff, and her absence would be crucial as Lady Vols enter SEC play this weekend. And that's the latest on Ament and Pickens. We'll keep you updated as more information becomes available.
And we appreciate you, Summer, and quite frankly, for my boys here at the desk, when it rains, it pours, my friends. And it's quite cloudy outside. And it's also pouring very hard for the Lady Vols last night, as we're going to get into it right here, as they ended their regular season with 6 straight SEC losses and momentum. They thought maybe they're going to go into the SEC tournament and get something going. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Eliminated in the first round, losing to 11th seeded Alabama. Now, Allie Campbell and Lauryn Gempler are on site in Greenville and were at the game last night. Unfortunately, guys, what happened to the Lady Vols last night?
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, we are inside the arena right now. South Carolina just took down Kentucky, and these fans are loud. But looking back to last night's game, the Lady Vols got eliminated by Alabama by a score of 76-64, and they are now on a 7-game losing streak. But last night, the Vols got behind early and were never able to really recover from that.
Turnovers were a big theme for last night's game, a pattern that's been seen all season from this group. They had 18 last night, making this the 14th game with more than 15 turnovers. Now, another thing to note from last night's game was the leading scorer for the Lady Vols, Talaysia Cooper, only played 12 minutes last night after averaging over 26 per game this season. Lots of exciting fans back here right now. But she was taken out with just under 2 minutes in the second half. And then after the game, after the locker room, she left early and was escorted out of the building by an assistant coach, to which Kim Caldwell just said that she needed some air, and taking her out of the game prematurely was a coach's decision.
Now the Lady Vols have to look forward to the NCAA tournament coming up, and when tournament play begins, the Lady Vols will have not won a game in over a month, but Selection Sunday for the Lady Vols is set for March 15th. But for now, back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, ladies, and we hope that you have a safe trip home. And we thought you might get to stay a little bit longer, but that's just not the case. And Lauryn and Allie were also at the post-game presser where, as they mentioned it, they talked about Talasia Cooper's interesting exit post-game. Let's take a look.
Yeah, it was a coach's decision, and we just wanted to give her some air. I think your emotions can get running, and just wanted to get her outside and with a staff member so she could breathe. Who knows if it was the right call, but we're trying to find combinations that work.
Now, I will say, in this matchup last night between the Tennessee Volunteers and the Alabama Crimson Tide, that we say to the desk we hate it, but it's hard to beat a team twice. And that's what, the second, third time that's been proven this season against the Lady Vols. Look, they were outworked, they were outplayed, and they were outcoached. Those are the words of Coach Kim Caldwell. Interesting coming from your head coach. But the Lady Vols sung a song that they have sung all season, and they sung it loud last night, the turnover battle. They had 18 turnovers, as Allie Campbell said, 12 in the first half. Now, they did force 13 of their own, but they only capitalized on 11 points in their previous matchup with the Alabama Crimson Tide. They had 14 turnovers in which they scored 20 points off of them. But last evening, they just looked to be zero fight from the Tennessee Volunteers.
Yeah, and again, as we said every week on this show, not a very good game from the Lady Vols. And you mentioned turnovers. Well, the real struggle was also the points in the paint production. Alabama, they simply dominated in the paint. They had 38 points in the paint compared to Tennessee's 24. In one quarter alone, they had 18, and Tennessee had 6. I mean, that is just ridiculous from the Tennessee Lady Vols. I mean, seriously, they just had no offensive sparks on their roster.
Yeah, and it's hard when, Mia Paldo has not looked the same outside of her injury. I think I agree. She hasn't looked as dominant as she has before, not really knocking down the shots. Also, the absence of Denia Prawl due to concussion protocol. But nobody on the Lady Volunteers stepped up last night. Only 2 players over double digits. I mean, the offense was not rolling, and when the defense, you haven't been able to rely on that since January, December. So the Lady Vols just have a lot to figure out, and you've ran out of time.
But the Lady Vols have some time before Selection Sunday, which is slated for not this upcoming Sunday, but the next Sunday. Is that going to be beneficial?
I don't know. I mean, it's tournament play. I mean, other teams have had this fire within them, and we saw that with Alabama last night. So where's the fire under Tennessee? I mean, they have played Final Four worthy teams every single time this season. And then, look, you're coming in with the longest conference losing streak in Tennessee history. Do you not want to win? Are you not embarrassed? They need to change. And there's not a lot of time left. There's quite literally not a lot of time left.
A wise man, he once told me, to believe in hope, to believe and believe. However,
I don't know.
For the Lady Vols, I think this season is over. You've lost 7 straight. That's the worst record you've had in 55 seasons, or the worst losing streak in 55 seasons. You've won 2 in the last 12. After being number 1 in the SEC, February is where you get your teams together. You build them up. You learn your mistakes, not break down. This team is nothing less than shattered right now. I just don't see any hope for the Lady Vols, and I love to be optimistic.
Now, another interesting nugget for this Lady Vols team is if you'll notice that someone was missing last night on the bench, and that was 5th-year senior Kaya Wynn, who announced on Wednesday that she was stepping away from the Lady Vol program, stating that the breaking point of this decision was not getting to start on Sunday's Senior Day matchup, and when she was offered to go in with 15 seconds left in the game, she refused. Obviously, this is an implication of the coaching staff, Kim Caldwell in particular.
Yeah, and look, I understand both sides, especially from Caldwell's perspective, but I got to say, Kaya Wynn, she's been on the team for 5 years. She's gone through a lot of personal struggles, missed all of last season due to a torn Achilles. She's only played in 9 games this season. I understand the frustration, the emotion. I mean, sports is an emotional game, and that's tough to deal with a player. And like she said, it was just her breaking point.
Well, Matayaus, we like to agree a lot, but I'm going to disagree with you today. VFL Tess Darby came out in support of Coach Caldwell on Wednesday. She said, in Coach Kim's system, starting is earned off the previous game's performance. Numbers don't lie. Tess didn't start on her senior night. She said accountability isn't disrespect and the standards aren't mistreatment. Yes, Kai has given dedication to this program. But the number 5 ranked Vanderbilt Commodores came into Rocky Top, and you're looking for a much-needed win.
All she wanted was a start, Taylor. That's all she wanted.
She averaged 0.6 points and has made 2 field goals. 0.6 points.
She doesn't get any minutes. How is she going to score?
6 points. She has scored 2 field goals all season. You need players that are going to step up in a game like this. It's not going to be Kai Wynn. I love an underdog. I love a Cinderella, but it was not going to be in that situation. Take the time you get. I know as a person, I'd love to start in that game. But I think what Kim did was right, and because she's on the hot seat, she comes under fire for this.
Let's go to the hardwood. Let's go for more on the SEC tournament loss, and let's go over to our play-by-play boys, the man, the myth, the legend, Nick Rose and Charlie Fernandez. What do we have over there on the X's and O's side?
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex. As you guys said, Lady Vols on a historic losing streak. Let's take a look. Here, Alabama off opening tip, starts in a 2-3 zone. This is what teams have been showing the Lady Vols. To beat 2-3, you got to give it into the middle big man or big woman right there. Instead, they play hot potato on the perimeter, chuck up a 3, and it's a miss. You just can't afford that.
Yeah, a lot of bad decisions made in this one, especially on the offensive side. Let's take a look. Talaysia Cooper, watch this. She's going to try to play a hero ball drive with 3 people for Alabama in the paint. And it's going to be too late. Once she decides to take it and dish it out, ball's going to go out of bounds, turnover Tennessee.
Yeah, and that was just one of the 18 turnovers they had.
Yes.
Here, rare fast break opportunity. Janiyah Barker has an opportunity to get to Nia Robertson. Here on the fast break, lazy bounce pass behind. Just turnovers, 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 Charlie.
Yes, here Janiyah Barker is going to be driving once again. She's going to make the decision to get it out to Paldo, and she can shoot the 3 ball, except she's going to have 2 Crimson Tide come on her, and instead of dishing it, she's going to get blocked. Fortunately for the Lady Vols, that ball's going to go out of bounds and result in a dead ball. But, I mean, it's just the culmination of turnovers, bad shot selection that has been the result of this 7-game losing streak. If they want a serious chance of making it far in the tournament, they're going to need to regroup and dial in on offense. Alex, back to you.
18 turnovers. We could sit up here all day and talk about it, but that's going to be enough. For now, we're going to head over. Thanks, guys. It's just not looking good.
No, not at all.
Not looking good at all. And they're going to have one more chance at March Madness to put the pieces together, and a bad result could be bad for the future of Kim Caldwell.
Houston runs it stuffed. The shot blocked at the glass by Kate Phillips. Boswell on the run, the spin, the finish. Ball stolen by Gillespie. Tennessee with numbers ahead to Boswell. A running one-hander. Lays it up off the glass and good.
We got to come back, do it again tomorrow, play for a championship.
Gets a screen, bounces the ball Estrella. Takes it inside, one-hander, good. Third on the right side, he'll take a 3. Oh! On top, Amen. Now in the corner, Gillespie for 3. Yes! Gibbs, Gillespie, back to Amen on top for 3. Hey! Yes! Carry to Boswell. To Gillespie, left side for 3. Yes, sir! Gives to Gillespie. Alley-oop, Akpara, who throws it. Watch your head, Mike. Boswell back to Gillespie for 3. Yes!
Tonight, the #1 ranked Lady Vol softball team enters SEC play against LSU, possibly without their ace pitcher. We'll have more on that when we get back. But first, tomorrow, Tennessee basketball plays its last game before tournament time, hosting in-state rival Vanderbilt. It has been a roller coaster of a season for Tennessee. Let's take a look at their season so far. Well, we welcome you back, ladies and gentlemen, to Torch Sports. We're back to talk all things in the world of Vol hoops. I'm Alex Carpenter, joined by Jack Glennon, Alexie Cowan, and Jordan Smitherman. Let's just jump right into it, folks. Last Saturday, we saw the Volunteers with a scary sight. It was freshman star Nate Ament tangled up with a loose ball, players all over the floor, and an Alabama player messed with his leg, and he was able to walk off the court, thankfully, on his own power, but he was unable to play on Tuesday against South Carolina. His status is also questionable for Vanderbilt tomorrow, and potentially for the first round of the SEC tournament next week.
Yeah, we found out, I think, 30 minutes ago in Coach Barnes' Friday presser that he is still questionable, still not sure day-to-day. So we have no clue when he'll be back, if he will be back.
Here's my prediction. They're going to sit him out until they need him, till March Madness, and then that's where they're going to get him going. SEC tournament doesn't matter as much. Like, you can win a couple games, but if you win the whole thing, doesn't matter. March Madness is really where it matters, and they can have him back for that game. But the tale's going to be, I think, is, oh, like Nate Ament, he's doing good, but he isn't producing like he was before. But I think they're going to let the attention linger until they can make a final decision for March Madness.
Yeah, if you ask me, I'm looking at Felix Okpara to step up for the Volunteers. With Nate Ament out, they need some scoring from the front court. When Felix Okpara scores double figures in SEC play, the Volunteers are 3-1. We saw him have a great game, a career game against South Carolina. He scored 20 points. He's a fantastic rim protector, great defender, averaging just about 2 blocks per game for his career. They need him to dominate the interior if they want any chance of beating Vanderbilt and advancing in the SEC tournament.
Are you worried?
Yeah, I'm worried. I'm absolutely worried. I'll tell you why. Because without Nate Ament, you're leaving one of 2 players on this Tennessee team who's averaging double figures. You're leaving 18 points a game on the bench. And that needs to come from other places. That's why I'm saying, especially the front court, because the Tennessee offense without Ament, it's going to go through Jacoby Gillespie, and everybody and their grandmother knows that. That is going to be the most predictable offense you have ever seen tomorrow. But if they can find a way to get Felix Okpara, Alexie's guy, JP Estrella involved, I don't know, maybe they might have a little bit of success.
JP shocked me the other night.
He's had a couple good games.
I was expecting Jacoby to take over, like you said, and then JP and Felix just come in with 22 points and 20 points. Like, did Rick Barnes just tell the team, hey, like, let's go inside the whole game? Like, I was shocked by that. So that's why I think you can just trust Rick Barnes, put all your trust in him. He will get it figured out.
Well, I think it's worthy to mention that who Rick Barnes started in place of Nate Ament on Tuesday was Amari Evans. Now, he started and played 32 minutes. That's the second most behind Gillespie with 34 points, had 7 points, 3 steals. But here's the thing, he's a 50% guy. 50% field goals and free throws on Tuesday night against South Carolina when he had to come in for Bama for Ament after he got hurt. 50% field goals, 50% on his threes. You've got to have somebody that's more than a 50% guy if he will take Ament's place.
Do you? 50% is pretty efficient from the field. Not from the free throw line, I'll give you that, but from the field and from 3, I think
not
he'll take 50%.
Not for a March Madness team.
Yeah, it is.
I agree with Lindsay.
In place of Nate Ament, what better option do you have? What do you propose?
You
Who do they start? Jalen Carey?
You don't have another option because no one else can score and bring the presence that Nate Ament
Your
can.
option.
It's a Nate Ament and Jacoby Gillespie show. Now it's just
Nate Ament's not even shooting 50%. He's shooting 43%.
Your option is to make Amari Evans better.
Yeah.
How much stock are you guys putting in a South Carolina midweek snooze fest? Quite frankly, even though JP had a career game,
not much. Carolina may suck.
That's a horrible team. And last year they got blinded by the fact they had Colin Murray-Boyles, but the rest of that team was horrible. And this year it's the same story. A terrible basketball team. I'm not impressed by a 19-point win.
South Carolina could have 10 people on the floor and still not beat anybody.
100%.
I'm sorry.
Facts.
It's going to be the question for the rest of the season, folks. Can Nate Ament be healthy, and how do you make a tournament run without him? Our play-by-play guys, they might have the answer. Guys?
Yeah, well, thanks, Alex. Keys for Tennessee. Just continue to play your brand of basketball. Continue doing what you're doing. We're going to take a look at some clips from the South Carolina game here. Watch the screen set by Estrella. Gillespie's going to get open, and both these defenders are going to chase. And watch Estrella come down here. You can't get more wide open than that. It's going to allow for Boswell to dish it to him. He's going to fight off the defenders, but put it up for the bucket.
Yeah, Charlie, on this next play here, Rick Barnes, the king of the inbound play. Gillespie goes to the corner, takes the deny man and his man with him to that corner. Estrella slips off the screen, wide open dunk for him.
15 dunks in this one for the Volunteers here. Top of the key, Gillespie again, once again. Now, clearly South Carolina does not watch play-by-play because they would know. We've talked about this before. Watch Okpara, back turned. Estrella's going to call for the ball, and as soon as Gillespie comes around and sets the screen, it's go time for Felix Okpara. Estrella's going to throw it up to him for the alley-oop.
Maybe that's why they've had such a difficult year, Charlie.
Yeah.
This play right here, Bishop Boswell, top of this court right there. Gillespie, pump fake, Hezzy, Estrella with the emphatic slam off the slip.
Yeah, I mean, teams are really going to have to figure out how to defend this team without Nate Ament, and they really picked apart this South Carolina defense.
Yeah, but as you guys mentioned, Vanderbilt, a different beast. They're going to need to continue to play their brand of basketball with Nate Ament out. Alex, back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, my friends. And what would we do without you? While Tennessee currently prepares for tomorrow afternoon's matchup against the Vanderbilt Commodores, they will also start preparing for their play in the upcoming SEC tournament next week.
What do you do without Nate Ament in the SEC tournament? I want to talk about the points that Nate Ament has had in his SEC play. He's had double-digit points in every SEC game except one against Texas, and of course Bama when he got hurt. That includes 3 29-point games and 4 other 20-plus point games. I don't know if you can win an SEC tournament without him when you're missing 29 of your points against people like Alabama, Kentucky, Arkansas, and no possible chance of a March Madness run.
For me, I don't care as much about winning the SEC tournament. We can get out early and be fine. I care more about March Madness.
I mean, look, for this team to win any sort of games in the entire month of March, much less April, for the love of God, make your free throws. It's not acceptable to shoot 70%, 69.5% from the line. There's no reason a borderline professional basketball team should be shooting anything less than 78% from the free throw line. South Carolina is shooting 78%. We saw what that team looked like. Come on, you're shooting 69% from the free throw line. And also, stop turning the ball over. Second most turnovers in the SEC by a team this season. Third worst turnover differential. It's just not acceptable.
No, Tennessee's done better when it comes to turnovers. They've improved.
They still have those late game turnovers.
They're still shooting themselves in the foot.
Jacoby Gillespie can't help himself there.
Jacoby Gillespie, he's a great player, he's a great scorer, but he needs to play more like a point guard and pass the ball.
Jack, is there a way to improve free throw shooting this late in the season? Or is it simply just a fact of what this team is?
You know, as someone who played basketball, I never understood how someone could struggle so much with free throws, much less an entire team. These guys, if they're shooting anything less than 75%, should be doing nothing but sitting aside at practice and shooting free throws for 2 hours.
Well,
that's the bottom line.
That was my best shot in my little league.
I'm sure you were a baller.
Was my free throws. I think, 90%.
Baller.
90%. Tennessee Vols could learn some lessons from Alexie here.
I stood there and I practiced for hours.
Speaking of efficiency, this team against Alabama shot just 53% on their shots at the rim. That's not going to get it done, especially not in March, especially against the big physical teams like Michigan, Alabama. They need Felix Akpara, like I said, to step up. J.P. Estrella and Jalen Carey, Dwayne Brown. These guys need to finish at the rim. Amari Evans, too.
Thank you.
I'll ask you too quickly because, Jordan, you made your case on it. You don't care about the SEC tournament.
No.
Do you guys care, put any stock into it?
I would rather a team do bad at the SEC tournament because I feel like that gives them juice for March Madness.
Like the Lady Vols.
You want them to lose. You want them to lose the SEC tournament.
I'm not saying lose.
You said you want them to do bad.
I didn't say I want. I said I would rather.
Oh, you'd rather have them do bad than in March Madness.
Exactly. I think that gives you juice for March Madness.
You're playing for the big cup, but let's be real. Tennessee's not winning March Madness. They're not getting past the Sweet 16, and they'll be lucky to get there.
They're not going to make the Elite
They're
Eight.
not going to make the Elite Eight again.
Maybe not past the first weekend.
They'll be lucky to get past the Sweet 16. I'll tell you, they need to win the SEC tournament because it's all they're going to win. That's just the bottom line. They're not going to win anything else.
You have a point. You have a good point there.
And it's going to be interesting to see how Tennessee deals with any injury setback that they may have and how they're going to stack up against any of these teams that they're going to face for a second time in the SEC tournament. When we get back, we're heading to the Diamonds. Softball and baseball both are at home this weekend, but first, let's get an update on our rowing team from our very own Delaney Leary.
Season here in Tennessee. The Lady Vols will be hosting their first event of their season in East Tennessee, where the 1V and 2V8s will compete in a dual scrimmage against the Michigan Wolverines. This will take place next week on March 14th. Now, you might be wondering, how are the Lady Vols looking so far? Well, I'm happy to tell you that they are currently ranked 5th overall in the coach's AP poll. Later in the season, they will be competing in a variety of different regattas, including the 2nd annual Rocky Top Invite and SEC Championships that will both be here at home. In the last week of May, they will head down to Georgia to compete in NCAAs. The Lady Vols took home 3rd overall at the National Championship back in 2024, following behind Texas and Stanford. They then placed 5th overall in 2025 behind Stanford, Yale, Texas, and Washington. In 2026, the Lady Vols are looking to take home their 3rd top 5 finish in a row and possibly even make their way back onto the podium. This is going to be an incredible season led by head coach Kim Kupini, one you definitely do not want to miss. That's all for your Rocky Top Rowing Report. I'm Delaney Leary with Torch Sports.
Let's talk about a team that we know is good. I'm talking about Tennessee softball. LSU has made their way to Knoxville for the Lady Vols SEC opener beginning tonight. Connor Whitney is at Sherry Parker Lee, where ace Carlin Pickens has been listed as day-to-day with a shoulder strain. Connor, do you have any updates on her injury, and what can we expect from this team as they get into the meat of their schedule with SEC play starting tonight?
Well, there's still no update on the availability of Carlin Pickens this weekend against LSU. Again, on Wednesday, she was diagnosed with a right arm strain and listed as day-to-day, but there's still been no subsequent update. Her status is still up in the air. Could things certainly change between now and first pitch? Absolutely. But again, no concrete update for Carlin Pickens' availability against LSU this weekend. As for this weekend, what do you expect if Carlin Pickens can't go or is limited at all? Well, Karen Weekly will simply turn the ball over to another ace. Erin Newer has been simply one of the best pitchers in all of college softball this season, and she's arguably been as dominant as Pickens, as Newer leads the team in multiple statistical categories. This dominance began on opening night with a no-hitter against BYU, but that wasn't even her best performance of the season. That came a week later when she threw a one-hit shutout against UCLA, a team that currently averages over 11 runs per game. That's second best in the nation, and Newer was simply brilliant. Weekly has emphasized process all season long, and Newer has said that a personal part of her process this season has been trust. Trusting in pitching coach Megan Rhodes-Smith and her game plan, and trusting in her teammates behind her and her defense to make plays. And it stands to reason that the young ace has earned the trust of head coach Karen Weekly. If Pickens is limited or unavailable this weekend against LSU, expect Newer to lead the charge for the top-ranked team in the nation as they open SEC play tonight against LSU right here at Sherry Parker Lee Stadium. Back to the desk.
What a good team, and thank you, Connor. Tennessee softball's best start was in 2006 when they went 24-0. They are closing in on that record, and I have a feeling they're going to beat that real soon. But let's flip to the other side of campus where the baseball team is at home, hosting their second home series in the renovated Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Our own Caden Martin is on the Lindsey Nelson Plaza before tonight's first pitch. Caden, Tennessee has had a fun history with Wright State, I'm sure you remember. Thanks, Caden. It would not be a shock to see another grand slam from this team. I remember watching that one myself. Man, what a great moment in Tennessee baseball history. Drew Gilbert, what a guy. And there's just so much to look forward to this weekend. And hey, it is March. I can hear the theme song going in my head. There's chaos all month, and we'll be here with the rundown. To stay up to date with every single Tennessee game of every sport, take a look right here at this graphic. You've got to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at TorchSportsUTK and on X at TorchSports_UTK. We're there all day, every day. We'll be away on spring break next Friday, catching some sun maybe out there on the beach, but check out Dollywood's opening day next Friday with the whole TVC crew on WVLT and right here on YouTube. Here's to a long march for Tennessee. I'm Alex Carpenter, and as always, go Vols.